Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakah Kradash. I'm from the Prophets in Babylon out of the Waco, Texas camp, affiliated with the branch of Prophets in Babylon, Tampa Bay, Florida. I'm your brother Adiat. I'd like to give a special double honors to the elders and apostles on down at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. May the blessing of election be upon your household. And lesson for today is uh, false prophets and pastors that lead the flock astray. And Lord willing, I hope and pray that this will be edifying. And so I was inspired to do this video because there was a brother from GMS that put up a post about this pastor who said that he will close the doors of the church because because unless they come up with like $40,000, his congregation comes up with $40,000, which is just crazy, you know, because when you think about it, at the end of the day, you know, when Yahweh Shai was on the earth, Yahweh Shai was in the temple daily, you know. Let me see if I can get that. Mark chapter 14, verse 49. I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and ye took me not. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. Yeah. So this was Yahweh Shai speaking here when saying that, hey, I was in the temple daily, you know. So, you know, as true prophets of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, we want to, be consistent with the truth and as well as preach the true doctrine of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, calling on the true names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which means He is or He exists. And you have His Son, Yahweh Shai, which means He that delivers. So you're not speaking the true doctrine in the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, then you're preaching a false doctrine. And a lot of these men, that's what they're doing, and a lot of it is for their own personal gain, financial gain. Why the scriptures say what they say. This is why in John, let's go here. First John chapter 4 and verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Yeah. And so when you have someone who's saying that I will close it down because you're not coming up with a certain amount of money, this is not a true prophet of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. This is why the scriptures say try the spirits, to see if they'll be of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And it's obvious that, this pastor here who said what he said is not a true prophet or a pastor, you know. Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Yeah, that's would be the size of these guys, this guy that's saying what he's saying. And it's not just with this pastor, it's a lot of pastors that's in that same mindset. Matthew chapter 24 and 24. And this is speaking of the times that we're living in now. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Yeah, but the elect won't be deceived by these false prophets and pastors, And so, you can give tithes, but this is not something that's mandatory. In these churches, like this pastor that talking about closing down if you don't come up with a certain amount of money and things of that nature. True prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai don't look for that. You know, we're out here just to preach the word daily. If someone wants to come up and make a contribution, fine. If not, fine. We're still out here. Our job is to do the work. You know, to give the right message. And this is not our message, so it's not for us to be putting a price tag on it. Titus chapter 1 and 11, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not. And this is what these false prophets and pastors are doing for filthy lucre's sake. Yeah. So they're doing this for the money, man. They're not doing it for the true, you know, with true sincerity, you know, because this is what this is about. Doing this in such a way that is sincere and pleasing to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, giving the correct message. Now, this is what Yahweh Shai said to his disciples. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 8. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. Yeah, so we received this message freely. Some of us brothers we heard this on YouTube, and it piqued our interest. And, this was our calling, you know, and, we've been doing this work ever since, you know, listening and learning and continuing to learn, and we readily give this truth out. Now, at the same time, we have to be mindful not to, you know, give our pearls, to, to swine. But at the same time, we do, daily. Brothers are putting up videos, you know, and they're not looking for money, you know, to improve their finances and things of this nature, man. We're willing teachers who enjoy doing this work, man. You know, enjoy learning and continuing to do the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. So it's not about filthy lucre. It's about doing the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And one more for those out there that it's in the book of Revelations 22 and 19 about these men who bring in the false message. Revelations 22 and 19. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. Yeah, so we got to make sure we're bringing out the right, correct message. And these false prophets and pastors are not doing that. So they're going to have to answer to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai for that. because it's Yahweh Bashim Yahweh's message that we're giving. So, Lord willing, I hope and pray